Hey guys, so got some more work done today. Uh, I'm trying to get as much done as possible before the weekend. Uh, got a fairly busy weekend. Resident Evil 9 comes out day after tomorrow, and my 11-year wedding anniversary is this weekend. So I'm trying to get as much done before this weekend because I'm probably not going to kill a lot done this weekend. But anyway, let's jump into it. Round two.
Okay, so picking up where we left off, still kind of putting in a little detail, smoothing out some of the lines. Um, a lot of her contour lines, I'm kind of brightening it up a little bit. I know a majority of the center of her body is going to be dark, but even though it's going to be dark, you still have to add highlights to give it dimension, which will make sense near the end of the process. We're getting to that point, and by the end of this video, we should have a majority of the canvas filled. So we're closing in on that finish line, or at least closing into that point where we can really put away the larger brushes and pick up the precision brushes. So full disclaimer, as you're watching this video, I am kind of struggling with this part of her body. Uh, I'm having a hard time figuring out the lighting, and I'll struggle with it quite a bit. But as you'll notice, I'll work on it for a little bit, and I'll get really frustrated, and then I just kind of move on to another, excuse me, another area. The traditional bomber jacket that she wears. It's not traditional. It's modified, but it still has the wool lapels. So I'm adding slight lighting to it and some shading to it, giving it a little bit of shape. I'll add texture to it, that wool texture down the road when I start putting in more detail work. Usually when I'm working on something, I'm working on a specific area, and it's really not going the way I want it to, and I'm just kind of pushing around wet paint to the point where it's not really blending anymore. It's again, it's just pushing around paint, and you kind of have to back off for a little while, uh, wait for the paint to dry, and then come back to where when you do add another layer or another shade, another color on top of it, you're not just pushing it around. You want the paint to cover and blend, but you don't. When you start pushing around old paint with your brush, you really just kind of have to take a step back and wait for it to dry. What you will notice a couple of times is I'll add a lighter red on top, just because I'm trying to bring it down a little bit. I'm trying to bring some of that lighter red down. Still haven't quite figured it out. I will eventually. I promise. I'm still not 100% there, but I'm pretty sure I'm moving in the right direction. Like I said in one of my earlier videos, I want my videos to be full transparency. Mistakes will be made. I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form, as I've said. I am not a pro in the slightest. I'm amateur at best. I've never taken any formal classes. I've never had any formal training. It's pretty much just time uh, and trial and error. You play with certain colors, you play with certain textures, you play with brushes, and in the end, you get to be just more experienced. You're like, okay, well, I made a mistake here, um, and you do learn from it. Hopefully, I do apologize for this part of the video. This was actually the day after the transition. You can see the cropping is terrible. I cut out a section of the canvas, and I apologize for that. I'll uh, I'll try to do better and just work on zooming in the future so I can actually adjust. Starting to fill in her wings at this point. I think that background is just starting to really, really bug me. So I want to get rid of it. I'm adding in her wings, and I darken in around uh, behind her wings. Add in some dark browns. I, I still haven't really added any serious black tones at this point. I'm still sticking with your browns, your dark browns, your yellows, your oranges, and I'm trying to avoid any solid blacks until uh, I'm closing in on the finish line, and I just want to make those other areas just pop. But I think once you get your canvas completely covered, whether it's just grouping of shapes, your background, and once you get your canvas completely colored, I think for and most uh, artists, I think will agree, is when the fun starts. That's when you can really get in there and smooth out those lines and really clean it up, add dimension, add in the finer details, the textures, and that's when it gets really fun because you're closing in to the finish line. You're closing into that end product. Still haven't decided what my next project's going to be. I'm thinking because the new Resident Evil is coming out the day after tomorrow. I'm thinking, something that might involve Resident Evil. I've never really done anything Evil before, so I think it could be fun. I'm still thinking about it. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. So just as a side note, I struggle with hair. Um, I'm not very good at it. I'd like to think that I get a little better each time, but I really really struggle with it. So it should be an adventure for the both of us when we get to that point when I start working on her hair. Also, if you'll notice, uh, I made um, her right wing. The top is a little high. It's kind of coming out of the 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 top of her neck, the base of her skull, instead of from her back. Uh, I will fix that. And another thing that I don't know if you noticed or not, one of my favorite tools is I have a white uh, chalk pencil. Uh, it works really, really well for taking notes. So if you're working on something and after the, let's say you're working and you're working and you decide to call it and you're done for the night. The paint is dry. You can take that chalk pencil and you can go through and make markings and just kind of give yourself little reminders, um, just in case. You can see some chalk white lines right there, and it just kind of lets you know what you need to work on the next time you sit down and paint. Say, okay, I need to bring her wing down a little bit. Okay, I need to add some more shadows here. I need to bring her jacket out a little bit more. I need to give it a little bit more shape. So my little white chalk pencil it's in my holster at all times. I probably use that more than anything. It's kind of like a bookmark. So in the end, I decided just going full black at this point was probably, you know, the best way to go. I'll probably add some really, really dark red undertones, but I think it just kind of made sense. Instead of having light at the bottom, I just added more light at the top and brought the shadow down a little bit more, like that. Near the end, you'll see a lot of kind of like light brown lines around the exterior, and a lot of the fine lines, like the detail lines, especially on the outside of her body and just kind of separating her jacket and her shirt. Near the end, what I do is I take a sponge, a texture sponge. I dip it in a medium and I use an orange. And what the medium does is it really, really thins out the color. So when you go over it, all it does is just add a very, very subtle orange, which will make the body more kind of reflecting on the background, on the fire, on our wings. But we'll cover that one on the next video. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. I'll be posting the next one probably within the next 24 hours, hopefully by tomorrow, if not mid Friday. But we'll get into the more detail work, and we'll get into the smoothing of the lines and the blending and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, stay tuned for round 3. Talk to you soon.